Hi and hello. I hope all is well with you wherever you are in the world today, and welcome. This is Dune Imperium, and I am Admiral Trench. Welcome to the game. Let me just arrange this board ever so slightly. Yes. Great. Wonderful. I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe to my channel. And of course, share with all your friends, anyone who you think might be interested in board games. Today, I'd like to draw your attention over to the left-hand side on the Alliance track. We are using different token trackers to mark the position on the board. I'm hoping that these pieces being larger will be easier to see. And in the near future, will be using new tracker tokens on the board over here as well once they arrive in the mail. Let's see here. Also, don't forget that so long as everything goes according to plan, this Friday, July 5th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be doing a Dune Imperium game live stream with friends, and that is going to be the first of this channel where I have other people playing this game with me. So I'd like to invite you to join the show and enjoy the fun. And if you miss it during the live stream, you could always come back and watch it on my channel when you get free time. I've got a good group of friends, and I've asked them to keep it family friendly. Of course, just like any proper lad, we can talk like sailors. But for the viewing audience, I'd like to keep it family friendly only because this is a board game for all. And, I'd like it to be able to be listened to or watched. And if the kids are around or anybody who you'd prefer not hear profanity, I just like it that they don't have to worry about that coming from this channel. So I've asked my friends to keep it hush-hush, at least to be respectful to the viewing audience, and they've agreed to do that. All right, well, with that being said, I'd like to get into this game because I'm excited to play Dune Imperium. This is game 11. Now, last time I had an unlucky turn of events, and I was really disappointed with how that game turned out because I had so many lucky breaks go my direction that game. I mean, everything that could have gone right seemed to be going right until it didn't. And I can't figure out exactly where I went wrong. Maybe they just got away from me. So I think it might have been, there was a couple times where I should have got involved in combat and I didn't. Big mistake. So I regret all that happening, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the next game and let's hope I win. I don't want to take another L, that's for sure. Let's reveal the conflict first. We've got a skirmish on the field. So first place takes a victory point, and second place takes an intrigue card and 2 Solari. One thing I want to change moving forward from game 11 onward is at the end of each round, I will inform the audience who and what color is in what position on the victory point tracker. I'm just going to make the point, if I'm playing as, if I'm in first place, I'll say, I'm in first place with 6 victory points. Vernius is in second with 4 victory points, and, Atreides, Duke Leto Atreides is in third with 2 victory points. If it's something along those lines, that's what I'd like to do at the end of each round, because I realize that if you're narrating a game, it's important to inform the audience of where everyone is, just in case their eyes are not on the screen when they're watching the game. They may just be listening to it. So at least I've found myself listening to my own channel because I wanted to make sure a couple times where I thought maybe I made a mistake, I went back and listened to where I thought the mistake took place, and turned out that I didn't make a mistake. So I was super happy with myself. But it was a couple games ago where I did that, and I realized, you know what, I need to start doing that. So I'm going to start doing that. All right, now, another thing I want to do is it might be a little redundant for people who are aware of how this game works, but I just figured I'm going to explain the rules to Kwisatz Haderach level difficulty for people in case they don't know. So in Kwisatz Haderach level difficulty, it's the hardest you can go. And the way it works is I cannot take a sword master at any point in the game. So I will always only get 2 agents. It's going to cost 5 Solari to take the Mentet space as opposed to a mere 2 Solari. And my opponents begin the game with water, 1 water each, and 1 intrigue card each. It only takes them 3 water to get a victory point. It only takes them 3 intrigue cards to get a victory point. It takes them 7 Solari to get a victory point. And in the normal rules, if they get 7 spice, they'd get a victory point. But so long as you're playing with the Rise of Ix expansion, they will hoard spice for the sole purpose of buying a tech tile at the planet Ix. They hoard that spice for the course of the game. So, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else I have to say about the Kwisatz Haderach level difficulty. I'm going to begin reading the Imperium row, so let's get to it. Gene manipulation right here. For 3 persuasion, it allows you to go to green spaces and blue spaces, and it lets you trash a card. And if you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, you get 2 spice and 2 persuasion on a reveal phase. Bene Gesserit Initiate for 3 persuasion. It lets you go to green, blue, yellow spaces, and it lets you draw a card and gives you 1 persuasion on a reveal turn. Stillsuit Manufacturer for 5 persuasion. It lets you go to Fremen positions on the board and blue positions on the board. It gives you a water, and if you have Fremen Alliance, you get to return this card from play to your hand. And it gives you 1 persuasion, and if you have Fremen Bond, you get 2 spice on a reveal phase. Duncan, Idaho for 4 persuasion. You get to go to blue spaces, and it gives you the opportunity to spend 1 water to earn a troop to your garrison and draw a card. And if you reveal it, you gain a water and 2 combat points. Missionaria Protectiva for 1 persuasion only lets you go to blue spaces, but if you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, you get to move a faction token, a faction tracker up 1, and it gives you 1 persuasion on a reveal turn. All the way over here on Twi'leksu row, you have Scientific Breakthrough, and for the cost of 3 specimen, you get to go to green, blue, and yellow spaces and move your research tracker. And if you have 2 genetic markers, you could trash the card for a victory point. It gives you 1 persuasion and 1 combat point on a reveal turn. Contaminator for 1 specimen only lets you go to Fremen spaces, but also lets you move your Twi'leksu track. It also gives you 1 persuasion on reveal turn, and all this could be yours if the price is right, Bob. Back to you. All right. Okay, so with that being said, I think the 2 things I want more than anything is Stillsuits Manufacturer or Duncan, Idaho. Probably Stillsuits because it lets you go to more spaces, but it costs more. But also, I want Contaminator. And the reason why I want that is because I'd like to move my Twi'leksu track fast and get these 2 victory points. And if I get Contaminator, that can be easily achieved. And if I end up with Stillsuit Manufacturer, I'll be able to go to Hardy Warriors early and often enough that it would be very worth it. So I think I'm going to do that. Now, allow me to please just do 1 small thing. There, goodness gracious. I apologize. So until I get myself that computer I was talking about, I have to deal with this headache of a computer. And it's not fun. So, all right, now that that's taken care of, I can get into this game. All right, sorry for the long start, but it was all worth it. Here's my 5-card draw. Here we go. I've got a convincing argument, a seek allies, a reconnaissance, a diplomacy, and a dagger. Very interesting first turn. It's actually a terrible first turn because I'd like to buy those things, but I just don't know how. I'd like to get Contaminator right away because that one is going to be easy money for to get that Relaxu track moving. So how can I do that? Maybe I could take Dagger and go to Tech Negotiation and move my Persuasion from 4 to 5. Then I could use Seek Allies to take a fold space. What do you think of that? I think I like that. Okay, let's do it then. That is what I'm going to do. Dagger, right out of the gates, taking Tech Negotiation and bumping my Persuasion 1. That's going to put me at 5 Persuasion, so I can buy Stillsuits Manufacturer on my reveal phase, and that's going to end my turn. Oh, you know what? I might as well I get to put a Tech Negotiator in the Negotiator space over on the planet Ix, so long as I'm at Tech Negotiator space. So I'm going to put one in, because you never know. Maybe down the road I could get Mini Mic Film or Disposal Facility. So, yeah, we'll see how that rolls. By the way, I should mention, Mini Mic Film costs 2 spice, and on your reveal turn, you get to have 1 persuasion. Disposal Facility allows you to trash a card when you buy it for 3 spice, and on your reveal turn, if you have 6 or more persuasion, you may trash one of your cards in play. And Spice Satellites for 4 spice. If you spend 3 spice and trash this tech icon, you will get a victory point. Endgame is worth 1 victory point for each faction where you have 1 less influence. All right. I will have to pause this game for a moment and take care of my daughter. So please bear with me, and I will be right back. Okay, I am terribly sorry for that delay. Try to put your kid down to a bed at a certain time, and sometimes they just pop right up and they need your attention. So I apologize for that delay. Now, where was I? Okay, right. I was explaining that spy satellites is worth 1 victory point for each faction where you have 1 or less influence on the board. So yeah, I apologize for that delay. Usually that doesn't happen, but yeah, my daughter obviously takes priority over everything else. So if she needs me, this game stops and I go take care of her. That's just how it goes. All right, everyone. I've done my first move, so now let's go to Vernius and see what he's going to do. He's going to go to Conspire. So he goes here and he moves his tracker up 1. I don't know how to feel about these new trackers. They seem actually like they're more difficult to see than the old trackers. Well, for now, we're just going to have to live with them, and then next time I'll use the other trackers. So he also gets himself 2 troops and adds them to his garrison, and there they will remain until he ends up in a combat zone. So let's move forward to see what Duke Leto Atreides wants to do. He's going to take Carthag, and oh man, he's going to destroy my Contaminator. Dude, that really, really, really makes me mad because I wanted that Contaminator, and what are the odds that that was going to happen? I mean, come on. He moves his Twi'leksu track 1, and he trashes Contaminator and reveals Gola for 3 specimen. You can graph this card. It lets you go to blue spaces. This card has the same agent box as the other grafted card. So I guess it means it lets you... I'm supposing that means you get double the effects. So, for example, if it was grafted to, say, Duncan, Idaho, you could spend water twice and get 2 troops and draw 2 cards. I'm guessing that's what it would do. Man, I gotta say how disappointed I am that Contaminator is gone. I really, really wanted that card, and right out of the gates, my dreams have been dashed away. Still, suit manufacturer is still an option, so it's not all for nothing, but golly, I have tried to announce my strategy, and this just seems to happen where the opponents I play against dash my dreams away. I forgot to mention that Atreides is in a combat space, so he puts in 3 total troops, which is going to put him at 6 combat points. And then it goes to me for Agent Phase 2, and I'm going to use my Seek Allies and go to Fold Space. This card is going to get trashed. I'm going to take a Fold Space card and put my agent here on Fold Space and move my tracker 1 space up. And with that being said, we are now going to... Wait a minute now. Something has gone terribly awry. I accidentally put out the second agent of the green guy, and I meant to take him and put him there. So sorry about that. Okay, now we're going to go to Vernius. And what does Vernius want to do? Hayliner is what he wants to do. And he's going to bump himself up 1 on that tracker, get himself 3 troops, add them to his garrison, and enter them into combat along with 2 other troops. So he goes from 6 to 12 to 16. Golly, overkill, dude. It's only the first round in a skirmish. Okay, then we're going to go to Duke Leto Atreides, who will go to Arrakeen. And wouldn't you know it, oh, by the way, oh, you know what the problem is as I'm realizing this? He actually does not, let's just go back, because I just realized, because I had put the green one in that space, I'm just going to put all these troops back. Atreides went to Carthag, and then he put out 3 troops, which puts him at 6. As for Vernius, he only went to Hayliner, which means he puts in the 3 that he generates plus an additional 2. So he does not, in fact, put in all those troops, but it does put him at 10 combat points. So my apologies. That all happened, that mistake happened, all because I accidentally put the wrong agent in the wrong space on the board. So that's where the confusion happened, but it has been resolved. The issue is fixed. That being said, we are now going to get to my reveal phase, in which I buy Stillsuit Manufacturer, which I think is going to be the best bang for my buck out of this game early into this game. So Stillsuit Manufacturer is going to get purchased, and we're going to reveal the next card, which is Negotiated Withdrawal. For Persuasion will get you 1 troop upon purchase, lets you go to green, blue, yellow spaces, and 2 Persuasion on a reveal turn, and lets you retreat 3 of your units to raise a faction up 1. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. All right, now let's move forward with the rest of the game. So that was my reveal turn. Now we're gonna get into combat, and let's see what Vernius wants to do. He's going to generate 2 points of combat, and Atreides will generate 3 points of combat, which means that Vernius gets himself 1 victory point, and Atreides is going to get himself an intrigue card and 2 Solari. Wonderful. With the winnings resolved, we will now put Spice onto the field. And the first player tracker will go up. Return all combat trackers to their home positions. Return troops to their supplies. So that's 5 troops going there, 3 troops going here. We're going to flip the next conflict card, and it's Cloak and Dagger, which first place is going to get to raise a faction tracker up 1 of their choice and get 2 intrigue cards. Second place gets an intrigue card and 1 spice. We're going to move from 1 to second round, Agent Phase 1, move my Persuasion tracker back, and then we're going to roll the Imperium Row dice. Listen to that satisfying clackety-clack, clack-clack of the dice. 2 4s. So, goodbye, Duncan, Idaho. Sad to see you go, but it is what it is. We've got Lizan Al-Gaib, and it costs 4 Persuasion to buy. It lets you get a Spice. You can go to Fremen, blue and yellow spaces, and if you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, you get to raise your Fremen track up 1, and gives you 1 Persuasion, and if you have Fremen Bond, 2 attack points. 2 combat points, that is. Now, interesting, I might consider getting Bene Gesserit Initiate and then Lizan Al-Gaib, because those 2 cards together could be dangerous. All right, with that being said, let's move forward. We are now going to return the agents, but first I'd just like to let you know that Vernius is in first place with 1 victory point, while Atreides and myself remain at 0. So these agents are now going to go back to their respective positions, and I'm going to do the best I can to remember not to mix up the agents, as I did in the first round. Now, Vernius will go to Hardy Warriors with his first agent, and that's going to jump him up a space on that tracker. He's going to generate 2 troops into his garrison, and they're going to enter combat, and then an additional 2 troops behind them, which puts him at 8 combat points right out of the gate, which means he's gunning for the Cloak and Dagger. Now, we're going to go to Duke Leto Atreides, who's going to take the Secrets position, and that's going to bump him up a spot on his tracker here, and that's going to be it. As for me, I'm going to draw my hand and reveal it to the camera. I've got an experimentation, convincing argument, a dagger, a signet ring, and another experimentation. So let me just really quick count up my persuasion points, which is going to be right now at 5 persuasion points. What do I want to do? Well, as soon as possible, I need to buy High Council, so I'd like to go to experimentation. Using my experimentation card, I'd like to... Using my experimentation card, I'd like to go to smuggling, actually. And then on my next round, I will use my signet ring to generate some spice, maybe go to Imperial Basin and do it that way. That's what I'm thinking of doing. So experimentation is going to go into my play area, and I'm going to place my agent on smuggling. I'm going to take one Solari and move my tracker on the Chome track up one. And then I am going to move my research track up one as per experimentation commends. I will put my tracker here and put a specimen in the oxalotl tank. Moving on now, we're going to go to agent phase 2, and Vernius wants to go to selective breeding, and that means they get to move up on the tracker by one, and that's it. So then it goes to Duke Leto Atreides, who goes to still suits, very dangerous indeed. They move their fervent tracker up one, and they push in whatever troop they have into combat, which is only one, so that's only 2 combat points. But let's see, should I get involved in this combat now that it's back to me? Of course I need to consider this, because maybe I can't take first place, but I might seriously consider taking second for the intrigue card and the spice. But where will I go? If I go to the Imperial Basin, I can get 2 spice, plus if I use my signet ring, that would be 3 spice. If I end up winning this combat, at least take second place, I would end up with, at the end of this round, a total of 4 spice and an intrigue card. So it is very much worth doing. And so I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my signet ring, and I'm going to take the Imperial Basin. When I do that, I get to generate a spice as per the signet ring commands. And I will take the spice here, and the one when I harvest the spice from the Imperial Basin, which puts me at 3 total spice, and I'm going to push in 2 troops from my garrison into the conflict. And at this point, I am just going to cross my fingers that I take something out of this game, because even though it's close, I do get to reveal my dagger, which is 1 additional point, which is not terribly much, but I don't know. I'm feeling like I can take second place with as little as I'm putting in. Now, we're going to do what? Yes, enter the reveal phase. With all that said, I end this round with a mere 3 persuasion points, which is just enough to get Bene Gesserit Initiate, and that is, I think, what I will do. And I'm going to reveal, of course, my dagger, which puts me from 4 to 5 combat points, and I'll put another specimen in the oxalotl tank as per my experimentation card commands on the reveal phase. So that wraps up all of my reveal phase turn, taking Bene Gesserit Initiate and replacing it with, you know what is these are cards that I played with in the last game. I do not understand why they are showing up. I did a thorough table shuffle. I divided that deck into 5 decks, and I gutted the deck, I table shuffled the deck, and then I did one of those bop moves. These are cards I played with last time. Why are they showing up again? Not that I'm really complaining, it's just feels peculiar, that's all. Okay, maybe I need to do 2 table shuffles with that deck from now on to avoid seeing the same cards again and again. Now, we're going to get into the combat phase, and we're going to go from Thorvald to Vernius, who does want to definitely take the lead up to 10. Atreides is going to beat me and take 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I get 0 out of this conflict because I'm an idiot. Why did I decide to do that? Every time I've ever tried to play these guys in conflicts in the early rounds, I lose. Why did I take such a chance? Probably because I'm regretting not doing it last game. Well, I got to take take my lumps, you know, got to take my lumps. That stings, that hurts. And I get nothing except I lose 2 troops out of my garrison. So that is just devastating, in fact. Okay. Well, let's give the winnings over to who they belong to. Vernius takes first place, which means they are going to move one of their trackers up 1. It doesn't matter which tracker I choose because they are all in the same position. So that means he goes from 1 victory point to 2. And then he gets 2 intrigue cards, which means an automatic victory point because that would put him at 3 intrigue cards. He is coming out of the gates very hot. And as for second place, 1 spice goes to Duke Leto Atreides, and he gets a intrigue card as well, which means he gets to change over 3 of his intrigue cards for a victory point, putting him at 1. So at the end of this round, I'd just like to state that Vernius is at 3 victory points, Leto Atreides is at 1, and I remain at 0, and the winnings have been resolved. So now we will put spice onto the board. That was devastating for me. It is not looking good for me at all. That was just awful. Now we are going to return all these combat trackers back, return troops to their supplies. Here. And we are going to flip this conflict card to trade Monopoly, which gets you 2 movement on the Chom track and a combat and a troop to your garrison for first place, and second place gets an intrigue card and a water. And with that being said, I'm going to put all of my persuasion back, move the agent tracker back here, move this forward to round 3, and the opponents get their devastating sword masters. So let's see how that works now that the game gets extra dangerous for me, especially. With that being said, let's return all agents back to their home positions. All right, first player tracker goes to Duke Leto Atreides, and we roll the Imperium Row dice, and we get rid of the 4th and 5th card, which is Lisan Al-Gaib and Missionara Protectiva are gone out of the game for good. And we replace it with Truthsayer and Desert Ambush. Truthsayer, for the cost of 3 persuasion, allows you to go to Emperor and Bene Gesserit spaces and green spaces. And if you discard the card, you get to draw a card and gives you 1 persuasion and a combat point on a reveal. Desert Ambush, for the price of 3 persuasion, lets you only go to triangle spaces, but for each troop you deploy this turn, you may force an enemy unit to retreat. You get 1 persuasion and 1 combat on a reveal. Very interesting. Well, with that being said, I'm not going to lie. The Imperium Row looks terrible for me. None of these cards are appealing, so now I will nuke the Imperium Row right here, right now. So say goodbye to that nuke. Goodbye to every card in the Imperium Row. And we're going to replace them now with new cards. All right, we will begin on the left-hand side with Scout. For the cost of 1 persuasion, it lets you go to blue and yellow spaces, and on a reveal turn, 1 persuasion and 1 combat, retreat up to 2 of your troops. Chom Delicate, for the cost of 1 persuasion, it lets you go to triangle spaces, and you can share spaces with other agents. And on a reveal turn, you get the unload effect, which means you reveal, discard, or trash the card for 3 Solari. Ix Guild Compact, for 3 persuasion, lets you go to spacing guild spaces, you discard 2 cards, and you get a Dreadnought. It's the unload effect, so if it's revealed, discarded, or trashed, you can move 2 negotiators to the tech negotiation space on the planet Ix. Shut Out Mapes for 2 persuasion. Lets you go to Fremen and yellow spaces and gives you 1 persuasion and 1 combat. You may deploy or retreat one of your troops on a revealed phase. Web of Power, which is by far the best card out here in the row for 4 persuasion, lets you go to Bene Gesserit spaces and share spaces on Bene Gesserit spaces. If you have 2 influence with the Emperor, Spacing Guild, or the Fremen track, you would begin with the Emperor space, getting 2 Solari, drawing a card with the Spacing Guild, and getting water with the Fremen. And it gives you 1 persuasion and lets you move a faction tracker up 1 on a reveal turn. So Web of Power is definitely going to be what I get this next round. So with that being said, let's let it roll with Duke Leto Atreides, who's going to harvest spice, which means they're going to take the Great Flat and get 5 spice. So I'll just give them a 5 spice token, and they have no troops to push into combat. So now from there it goes to me, and I'm going to shuffle my deck and draw my 5 cards. Here we go. Let me just take a swig of my soda. Okay, here's what we're looking at. Fold Space, Dagger, Experimentation, Stillsuit Manufacturer, and Reconnaissance. That's going to give me only 3 persuasion to start. And what do I want to do? Well, let's see here. Fold Space, I can go back to Fold Space, get a victory point, draw a card. But then I need to go to Experimentation. Using Experimentation, I beg your pardon, I'd like to go to Smuggling and get, wow, what would I do? Well, let's see here. How about this? I go using Experimentation. Yeah. Using Experimentation, I go to Smuggling, get my Solari. Then I take my Dagger and go to High Council. That would be good, I guess. You know, I mean, it's not a beautiful round because there's a lot of things I'm leaving on the table, but I will look forward to having my Fold Space again and using Stillsuit Manufacturer again. And so, yeah, once I do that, I can take a High Council seat. I can move a faction up 1, so I could do that with something like, say, oh, I don't know, the Spacing Guild, get that victory point out of the way. I could do that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my Experimentation, and I'm going to take my agent and bring it over to Smuggling, get myself a Solari, and I'm going to move my tracker down and get myself 8 Solari. And just put it all over here. That's going to give me a total of 10 Solari now. And pretty soon, that means I can use a Mentat space down the road as well. So that's going to be nice. And yeah, I get to move my research tracker up 1. I'm going to move the Twi'lektu row track up 1 as per the research track commands. So with that being said, let's go to Vernius. And what does he want to do? He wants to harvest spice. So he's going to go to Haga Basin. He's going to get 4 total spice away from that, and he's going to push his troop into the battlefield, which is going to put him at 2 combat points here. Now, as I look at it, these guys are basically running on empty in terms of their troops. So right now is a good time to go for something, but there's the winnings out of this is just very, very small. I don't really need to risk so much. So okay, let's go back to Duke Leto Atreides, and what did they want to do? Harvest spice, but all the bonus spice is taken, so we got to draw another card. He's going to go to a Rakeen, and he's going to use his Signet Ring ability, which says when he spends 1 spice to gain an influence of the faction where an opponent has more influence than him. So let's see here. I guess he's going to spend 1 spice to move the Spacing Guild up 1. And with that being said, he gets 1 troop added to his garrison, and he pushes it into combat, putting him at 2 combat points. And with that being said, it goes back to me, and so now I will use my Dagger I'm going to go to High Council, spend 5 Solari to do this. Over here, put my High Council throne here, and get to gain a 2 persuasion bonus. So let's see here. I'm actually only at 4 persuasion because I only have 2 persuasion here. And I get to move a faction up 1, so I'm going to use the Spacing Guild. Well, is that what I want to do? Let's think about this. I will be able to, supposedly, be able to draw a lot of spice this game. So a thing I might do down the road is take Hayliner. As of now, I have 3 spice, but I could get more spice soon, especially since I have still suit manufacturers. I still have a fold space. Maybe the thing to do is to, pretty soon I'm going to have Web of Power, in fact, as well. So I will actually move my Emperor tracker up 1 because I need to start getting these things moving, right? So right now, getting the victory points, the low-hanging fruit victory points, is not the way to go. I think this is the smarter move. All right, now that that has been done, let's get over to Agent Phase 2, which began, by the way, already and has been passed over. I just forgot to move the tracker. Vernius is going to take his Agent Phase 2. He's going to go to Still Suits, and he's going to almost take the Alliance pretty soon. He has no troops he can add to the conflict, so that's that. Now we're going to go to Duke Leto Atreides for Agent Phase 3, and he will go to Selective Breeding, and he will get a victory point out of that. And that's all he does. It goes to me now, where I reveal, and I reveal pretty much nothing. It's a very anticlimactic reveal phase, but Web of Power is mine. Absolutely mine. I'm taking it. And I'm going to reveal the next card, which is Reverend Mother Mahayam, which costs 6 persuasion. It allows you to Emperor and Bene Gesserit spaces on the board. If you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, each opponent discards 2 cards. It gives you 2 persuasion and 2 spice on a reveal phase. You know, if it's possible, I might get that just so I can generate spice. Okay, so now we're going to go back up to Vernius for his 3rd reveal agent phase. We went from the reveal phase to Agent Phase 3. And what does he do? He goes to Fold Space. And that means he gets a victory point going from 3 to 4 for having done so. Good for him. Now we are going to get into the combat phase where, wow, talk about easy pickings. They're both only at 2 combat points, but it is what it is. So Vernius is going to blank out at 2, and Atreides is going to generate himself 3 points of damage, which puts him at 5, which makes him the victor. Now he's going to move his tracker up 2 as per first place winnings, and he's going to get himself 1 troop. So I'm just going to put the troop that's out here back into his garrison. Now, second place is going to get a water and an intrigue card. So 1 water for Vernius, and an intrigue card for Vernius. Why am I giving it to Vernius when... Oh, because Vernius took 2nd place, of course. All right, putting out spice onto the board now that the winnings have been resolved. So Imperial Basin is the only place that gets any spice. And we are going to return the combat trackers to their home position, return troops to their supplies. We are going to flip this next conflict card. Oh, I love this conflict. This is my favorite one to win, and I'm definitely going to try to go for it. Moving forward to the 4th round, Agent Phase 1, and then last but not least, we're going to roll the Imperium Row dice. 5 and 5, so goodbye, Reverend Mother Mahayam. You are gone out of this game completely. We're going to return... Oh, Firm Grip. That is going to be awesome. I might do that. That's going to be fun. All right, cool. So, okay, let's see here. Ow. All right. All my cards move over to my discard pile, and I get to start this next round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Let's move all the agents back to their home positions. But before I do, I'd just like to declare that Vernius is in the lead with 4 victory points. Atreides is in second with 2, and I remain at 0. But don't worry, my engine will be cooking with gas before long. So just bear with me and let's see what I can do in the not so distant future. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And here we go. To begin this round, I've got a convincing argument, Bene Gesserit Initiate, Signet Ring, another convincing argument, and a dagger. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to have a total of 2, 4, 6. That's going to be 8 persuasion. I'm not going to have to worry about getting firm grip. That's going to be a thing for sure. But what do I want to do? Well, let's see here. How about this? I should go to... I'm going to need to get into this combat. So I'm definitely going to go to Carthag, get an intrigue card and draw a card with my Bene Gesserit Initiate. That's what I'm going to do. Using Bene Gesserit Initiate, take my first agent, go to Carthag. That's going to generate me a troop, and I'm going to put both of my troops into the conflict, which is going to put me at 4 combat points and get an intrigue card. Okay, I'll take it. I'll use this right now and get another intrigue card. All right, great. My Twi'lexu tracker has moved up to his second position, which generates another intrigue card. Strong Arm, lose a troop, gain 1 influence with a faction whose board space you sent an agent to this turn. That's an interesting card. I've not seen it before. I'll have to think about what I want to do, if that's something that I could do at the end of this round, if it looks like a good idea. So with that being said, we will now move over to Vernius and see what he wants to do. He's going to go to tech negotiation, and wouldn't you know it, he does in fact have enough spice to get spy satellites, but it's only going to cost him 3 because he gets -1 spice discount on any tech tile he purchases. So 3 spice are going out of his bank, out of his hoard, as they say, and they are going to go into the bank over here, and he's going to take spy satellites, which, if he gets 3 spice, he will be able to trash the tech icon for a victory point. And he reveals Holtzman's engine, which is 6 spice, and at the start of each round, you get to draw a card. At the end of the game, it's worth a victory point if you have at least 2. The spice must flow. That's a very difficult goal to reach, but it's good to know that it's an option. At least drawing a card every turn is a good idea. All right, so now we're going to go to the Duke Leto Atreides, who goes to fold space, and he moves his tracker up 1 and gets a victory point, leaving me in the dust. Now we're going to go to my second agent phase. I'm going to use my Signet Ring and go to Arrakeen. Yeah, that's the smart move. I'm going to go to Arrakeen. I'm going to draw a card and generate a troop and push it into combat. Right here, which is bumping me up 2, I'm going to draw a card. Diplomacy. Darn it, that's actually a really good card that I need, but that's okay. So I go from 5, 6, I'm at 7 persuasion right now. Okay. I'm feeling right about this. Now let's move forward to Vernius. What does Vernius want to do? He cannot go to Carthag. He can go to the research station, and he has no troops, but he gets to move his Twi'lexu tracker 2, which gets him an intrigue card. If he gets 1 more of those, he gets a victory point. All right, now we're going to go to the Duke Leto Atreides, who is at this time going to interstellar shipping because he has 2 influence over here with the Spacing Guild, and that means he goes down 1 and up 1 because in the House of Gaul rules, the opponents never go beyond the 2nd space on the Trome track. So what he gets is 2 troops to his garrison. He gets to move a faction 1 space up, I'm going to use the Fremen track because it's the first victory point. So it moves him from 3 victory points to 4, ties him for first place. And he gets 7, no, I beg your pardon, 8 Solari, which is, in fact, 7 of that Solari is a victory point. So he's really only taking 1 Solari, and he gets a victory point, moving him from 4 to 5 victory points, putting him in first place. The Chom track is devastating when you're playing House of Gaul because they can use that Solari to get a free victory point. So he has had a couple lucky breaks using the Chom track. Good for him. Now it's going to go to my reveal phase. What do I want to do? Now I have the dagger, so I can move it up to 7. At this point in the game, it doesn't look like these guys are going to get into this conflict, so I feel good about that. I do feel good about that. Do I dare I risk it? Dare I risk using strong arm? Well, I haven't put an agent on any of the factions, so I can't do that, actually. So I'll just have to live with my decision as it is, which is fine by me. What did I want to buy? Oh, yeah, that's right. I said firm grip, didn't I? Firm grip it is, because I have so much excess Solari right now. Is this a good idea? Is this a good idea? It would be a way that I could move faction cards around, but it only lets you go to green spaces and emperor spaces. So I guess I could, like, say, go to wealth. Okay, yeah, I see how that would work, actually. I would go to wealth, and then, yeah, get 2 Solari, use the 2 Solari, move another faction up 1. Okay, yeah, things could happen like that. I will try that. I will try to do that and see if that works for me. Okay, with that being said, Spice Hunter goes onto the field for 2 persuasion. It lets you get Fremen spaces and yellow spaces. You get 1 persuasion and 1 combat on a reveal phase. If you have Fremen bond, you get 1 additional spice. So now that we are beyond, golly gee, I have not been moving my agent tracker. I apologize. We're out of my reveal phase, moving forward into agent phase 3 to Vernius, who cannot go to Arrakeen. He can go to interstellar shipping, but someone's already taken that spot, so he will go to wealth instead. Vernius goes to wealth. He pushes his tracker up 1, gets a victory point, moves from 4 to 5, and ties for first place. And now we go to the Duke Leto Atreides, who's going to go to tech negotiation, except he can't because that space is filled. So then he goes to full space, except he can't because he's already got an agent there. So now I've got to take the House of Gaul deck, shuffle it up real good, and see where he goes on the board. I'm going to be very likely unimposed in this combat, which is very good for me because I want to be moving these faction tracks as fast as possible. I want to get all the victory points, if not more, out of that row. ASAP, getting those victory points is essential. Again, I just wish I could have gotten that Contaminator card because then the Twi'lexu track would be better utilized that way. Right now, I may not make it to the very end of that track before the end of the game, and these guys are leaving me far into the dust, and we aren't even halfway through this game. Well, we are about halfway. Usually the game ends between 7 and 8 rounds, so we're about halfway through this game, and they have left me far into the dust. I haven't generated a single victory point, but things are beginning to get going, especially if I win this combat. So I'm liking this. Now, the Duke Leto Atreides has 3 troops in his garrison. That's a little scary. He could go to a position like, say, Hayliner and just destroy me. And if he does that, I am going to smack myself because, good Lord, how bad could my luck get? Selective breeding. Oh, my goodness. He moves his tracker up 1, and that's it. Okay, great. So I'm unimposed in this combat. So we will now move forward to the combat phase. Is that true? That's right, because here, as you can see, he is in combat space, but he has no troops to add into the combat. So Yes, I'm unimposed at 6, and I also have a dagger. So I'm sorry, at 7, and that actually puts me at 8. And that's all the benefits I get from that. So, anywho, or did I already do that? 6 and 7. Yeah, that's. I'm not at 7 to 8. I'm from 6 to 7 because of the dagger. I apologize. So, all right. With that being said, combat resolved. What do I want to do? I'm going to move my Fremen track up 1 and my Bene Gesserit secrets up 1. That's what I'm going to do. Alrighty then. Now, with that being said, no, they don't get anything. So winnings have been resolved. We're going to put a spice on the Imperial Basin. We're going to put a spice on Haga Basin and the Great Flat. Then we're going to return the combat tracker to its home position, return all my troops to its supply, flip the next conflict card, moving from round 4 to 5. There we go. Putting this agent phase back to 1, moving my persuasion here to 4. There was really nothing up there I wanted to buy anyway. And last but not least, we are going to roll the Imperium Road dice. These glass dice that clank very nicely. 4 and 6. 6s are always ignored, but shed out Mapes is gone off the Imperium row, and we reveal Guild Chief Administrator. For 4 persuasion, it lets you go to Spacey Guild spaces, blue and triangle spaces. If you discard the card, you get trash a card, and it lets you get 1 persuasion on a reveal turn and move your Chome Tracker 1 on a reveal turn as well. So with that being said, I will now give the first player icon to Vernius. I'm going to draw my next hand quickly just to see where I'm at. So give me a moment here to shuffle this up. Keeping in mind, I still have a fold space, which is going to generate for me basically a free victory point, because if I use it to go to any one of the faction spaces, I'm ready for a victory point. So I could do that. And if I use Strong Arm, like say I go to, well, I don't have a water, so I can't go to Hardy Warriors. I may go to Imperial Basin if I end up with a triangle space, get the 3 spice, and then go to Hayliner. That'd be an option. That's an option. Get a bunch of stuff and open me up for some stuff. And yeah, that'd be great. So with that being said, let's see what I get. Okay, here's what we're looking at. Okay, I did not get the fold space card, but I did get this, and I did get Firm Grip. I cannot use this yet because, yes, well, you know, it's interesting. No, that would be silly of me to do. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 victory points this turn, because I'm going to use Firm Grip when it is my turn and take Wealth and get the victory point there, and spend 2 Solari to get a victory point from the Bene Gesserit space. Might as well do that. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, so experimentation and Firm Grip to Wealth is what I'll do. Yeah, and I'll take the 3 spice for now, just so I can have the Hayliner down the road, maybe the next round. So, all right, great, wonderful. Let's return all these agents back to their home positions. Of course, we got to do that. That's got to be a thing that happens. We cannot just keep playing and not return these agents back to where they belong. That would make no sense. Okay, so the tracker goes from 4 from me to Vernius. So Vernius goes first. What does he want to do? He's going to take fold space, of course, and he's going to move his tracker up 1. These tracks are moving for these guys. And then it's going to go to Atreides, who will harvest spice, which means he's going to take the Great Flat. In fact, he's going to take the Imperial Basin because it has the most amount of bonus spice. So he actually gets himself 3 spice, and he steals the spice that I wanted for myself because he's a jerk. But it is what it is. I just have to take my lumps. So he also pushes in 2 troops into the combat space, which puts him at 4 combat points. As for me, that actually kind of ruined my plan. I'm not going to lie. It really actually did. So what do I want to do about that? What do I want to do about that? That's a tricky one. What I could do is right now just take the firm grip card and use it, and then think about what I want to do down the road, because I need to get these things moving. And yeah, that idea didn't work out. So I'm going to take my firm grip. I'm going to use it to go to wealth, get a victory point, and then spend 2 Solari to move any other track I want up by 1. And I'm going to choose the Bene Gesserit track, in fact. So yes, I will do that. Move my wealth here, move that up 1, and get a victory point, moving me from 0 to 1. Yay, celebrate! I'm going to get 2 Solari, and I'm going to spend 2 Solari to move my Bene Gesserit track 1. Yes, and get another victory point, moving me from 1 to 2. All right, now I just realized at the end of the last round I did not declare who was in what position on the victory point track. That's going to have to be something I do. I'm going to have to get into the habit of doing. So, all right, now we're going to go to Agent Phase 2. And it's going to be Vernius, who will go to Interstellar Shipping all the way over here and bump his track up to, he doesn't get any benefits at this time, but he's primed the next time he gets a Chome track movement. Now we're going to do Duke Leto Atreides, who goes to Still Suits on his second agent phase, and he bumps his tracker up 1, putting him 1 away from the Alliance coin. It's a race. They're tied 1 away. So moving on to me now. What do I want to do? By the way, he moves his last troop into combat, putting him at 6 combat points. What do I want to do? Now, this was the big question last turn. If I use Bene Gesserit Initiate, you know what I could do is I could go to a place like, say, oh goodness gracious, maybe I could, yeah, well, I couldn't do that, actually. I just realized I cannot do that. Goodness gracious. How very disappointing. Yeah, I'm looking at my Twi'lexu track right here, and I'm going, okay, if I use my experimentation card, I would be able to move my tracker up 1, and then that would be able to generate that up 1 here, and then I'd also be able to put a specimen in the tank, and then I could spend the 3 specimen to get another victory point right there, and the 2 spice, which would put me at 5 spice. So that's what I need to do right now, is I need to use my experimentation card to get that going. Experimentation to smuggling, and that's really the only option I have for triangle spaces, even though it's not super fun. It isn't amazing. Or, you know what I could do, but this is a little risky. I could take my Bene Gesserit Initiate, go to the Mentet space, draw 2 cards with that, and then I would be able to then do that. But I don't need to have 3 agents this turn, I don't think, especially since my options are so very, very limited. It just isn't necessary. So actually, I need to remind that I got to bump this up to 5 persuasion. And yeah, I'm just going to, this is going to be kind of a dud round anyway, and the winnings out of this isn't super great. It's a Mentet. That means the Mentet's not going to be available next round. So, next round's going to be the 6th round, and that is where things get very, very hairy. Oh, goodness. Whoever gets the Mentet, it's going to be Atreides. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. But you know what? I just don't think this is the one There's no way I'm going to be able to win the combat out of this round anyway, so getting the Mentet now doesn't do me any favors winning this combat now. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. What am I even thinking, you know? So with that being said, yeah, I'm going to maintain my initial strategy. Using experimentation, I will take my second agent to smuggling. I will get a Solari, and I will move my Chome tracker up 1, and move my research track up 1, and then move my Twi'laksu track up 1, and then I will put a specimen in the Oxalotl tank. And that's going to be it for me on my second agent phase. So let's move forward now to agent phase 3 and see what Vernius wants to do. It's going to harvest spice. So here he goes all the way over here, and he gets himself 4 spice. We applaud him for his great victory harvesting spice. Whoever thought of going to Arrakis and harvesting spice? He must feel so special. Good for him. All right. He has no troops to add into the conflict, so he's going to be sitting there for a little while thinking about his poor decision-making process. Then we're going to go to the Duke of Leto Atreides, who's going to take Arrakeen because he feels like he really needs to press forward into this combat. So he's going to push a troop from his garrison into the combat, moving him from 6 to 8 conflict points. And he uses his Signet Ring ability, which allows him to spend a spice to gain an influence in a track where someone is below him. And I'm looking at it now, and it appears he's 1 below on the Spacing Guild. So he is primed to take these coins in 3 spaces, Fremen, Bene Gesserit, and the Spacing Guild. That makes him especially dangerous. So, goodness gracious, Atreides is all set and ready to go. He wants to win this game badly. I can see it. I can feel it. All right, now we're going to get into the reveal phase, where I wanted to spend these specimen and move my Twi'laksu tracker up 1, get these 2 spice, and get a victory point, moving me from 2 to 3 victory points. I have, at present time, 6 persuasion. I don't know how I thought I was at 5 when I was actually at 6. I do not have Fremen Bond, unfortunately, but is there anything I would like to buy for 6 persuasion? Absolutely nothing. Nothing looks good. I've already nuked out the row, so that's going to be it for me over here. And now we are going to get into the conflict where Duke Leto Atreides blanks out because he's not fighting anyone anyway, but all his troops go back to his supply. He gets the Mentet for his next turn right here. And he gets an Intrigue card here. He gets 2 Solari. He's at 5 Solari. 2 more of these, and he gets a victory point. And nobody gets anything for second place because nobody else was in the conflict. So now we're going to put Spice out onto the field. Hagabazin is the only place that gets it. We are now going to return to combat trackers where they were, as we have. We're going to move the Persuasion tracker here, move Agent Phase tracker back there, and flip this conflict card. Here, it's the Siege of Carthag in the 6th round. Getting this could be good. It's a victory point for first place and a flag on the Carthag space, and you get an Intrigue card and 1 spice for second place. We're now going to roll the Imperium row dice, 4 and 6. 6s get ignored, so that means Guild Chief Administrator is gone. They are off the Imperium row, and we are going to replace it with Oregon Merchants for 3 persuasion. Allows you to go to blue and triangle spaces. You can spend 1 specimen to get 4 Solari, and it gives you a persuasion and a Solari on a reveal turn, so that's quite nice. You know, it's going to be interesting when I play on Friday with my friends because I'll have a opportunity to get a Swordmaster, and I'm looking forward to actually using a Swordmaster because I never get a 3rd agent whenever I play this game. So I'm just like kind of like excited to have that opportunity to finally get to play with a 3rd agent just to see how that works. Anyways, with that being said, we will now return all the agents and move the first player tracker to Atreides. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So agent here, agent here, agent here. Yeah, there's going to be 4 agent phases this round because of that Mentet. All right, great. And how do we want to begin this round, Duke? Still suits. Goodness gracious. That's going to get him the Fremen tracker. So he gets a water for taking the Alliance token. He gets the victory point here for taking the Alliance token. And there he goes from 4 victory points to 5 victory points. I think it's worth mentioning at this time, at least because I forgot to, that as it stands, Duke Leto Atreides sits in first place with 6 victory points. Vernius is in second with 5 victory points, and I am trailing behind at 3 victory points. Okay, wonderful. So with that being said, let me draw my next hand. Let's see what we are going to do. Let's see, I've got 4 or 5. There it is. All right, great. Here we go. 2 daggers, convincing argument, web of power, signet ring. All right. It's really unfortunate that, yeah, look at this. My 2 dagger cards. I guess now is the time I can't take Mentet. And I just thought about that. I was like, now is the time to take a Mentet space, but it's really not a good time to take the Mentet space. Not a good time at all to take the Mentet space. Okay, I need to think about getting into this conflict. Now, if I use my signet ring, I can go to... Wow. Let's look into my discard pile real quick. I just wonder when I'm going to get my fold space, you know? I have gone and made mistakes. Now, let's see here. Okay, if I use Web of Power now, I can do what? I would have to go to a Bene Gesserit space. And that would put me 1 away from the Alliance coin of getting a victory point. But then also, because I have 2 persuasion with the Emperor track, I'd get 2 Solari. Solari is not super useful to me right now in this game, so Web of Power would not be super useful, except I would get maybe an intrigue card from Secrets. However, if I use my signet ring, go to Arrakeen, I could draw a card, generate a troop, push it into conflict, and get a spice, potentially draw Hayliner. I could get the Hayliner maybe if I have fold space or diplomacy next. I only have 4 cards left in my deck. I don't know. That's a 50% chance I get a faction space card. So the odds are quite good, but yeah. That's what my odds are. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my signet ring right now. And I'm going to go to Arrakeen, generate a troop, push it from the garrison into the conflict, putting me at 2 conflict points. I'm going to draw a card. It's Reconnaissance. That's a huge disappointment. But it's not all over yet. I still get 1 spice, so that solidifies my ability to use Hayliner at least the next round, especially since I'm going to start this turn the next round, so I'll be able to do that. And okay, yeah, that was a huge disappointment. I drew Reconnaissance. That wasn't what I wanted, but let's think about this. If I can get Carthag, that would be wonderful for me, and I would reveal Web of Power, which I could bump my, I don't know, I would bump my Fremen track up 1, get a victory point out of that, so I could do that. So yeah, I'm thinking of that, and I think that's what I'll do, is I'll use Reconnaissance next turn on my next agent phase, go to Carthag, if I can do that. Let's see what Vernius wants to do. He's going to take interstellar shipping. So dangerous, so dangerous. He's going to go down here and up 1, so he's going to get a victory point because he's spending 8 of his Solari, of course. 7 of that is going to be a victory point. So he goes from 5 victory points to 6 victory points. He is going to generate 2 troops into his garrison. And what else does he do? He moves a faction up 1. And as I see it, he's not going to bump his Fremen track. He's going to bump the Spacing Guild track to take that victory point and get 3 Solari. So he gets a victory point yet again. See, these guys are coming in hot. They are gunning for the win, and I need to start collecting victory points. So he goes from 6 to 7 after doing that. So this is devastating for me. They're getting very close to the end of this game, and I have a long way to go before I can win. But let's just see how things shake out. With that being said, Atreides will go to secrets. And here he goes. Here he gets himself an alliance coin. So he gets an intrigue card. And how many intrigue cards does he have? Let's just look. I think he's got, okay, he only has 1 intrigue card. So he gets an intrigue card and he gets the alliance token, which means he gets a victory point. He goes from 6 to 7 victory points as well. That's tying him for first. And it goes back to me. What do I want to do? I'm going to use my reconnaissance, as I said before. And I'm going to, you know what, I still need to do this. Let's see here. 3, 5, I have 5 persuasion. Not that it matters because I'm not buying anything, but yeah. So with that being said, yeah, I'm using my reconnaissance in my second agent phase. I beg your pardon, I forgot to move that. To go to Carthag, I'm going to push a troop in from my garrison into the conflict, putting me at 4 conflict points and get an intrigue card. And it's a favored subject. I will just use that now and get it out of the way, bump my tracker up 1, putting me 1 away from getting that alliance space. Maybe I'll get another firm grip in the not so distant future and utilize that somehow, get that alliance tracker coin. Okay, great. So with that being said, I've got 2 troops in the conflict, and these guys are still a long way from being done with their rounds. So it doesn't look good. I'm probably going to lose this round, but let's just see what happens. Vernius is going to fold space. So he goes to fold space and doesn't do anything for him. Now it goes to Duke Leto Atreides, who takes Hayliner. He takes the Hayliner. He moves his tracker up 1. He generates himself 3 troops, pushes them into conflict, which puts him at 6 conflict points. Now, you know, let's see here. I have 2 daggers, so that's going to at least make me tie him. So I still have a chance at blanking him out. If he blanks out, then I'll be very, very lucky. Now it's going to go to my reveal turn. So what do I want to do there? Now I'm going to take my web of power and I'm going to bump a track up 1. It's going to be the Fremen track so I can get a victory point. Next round, I'm going to take Hayliner. It's just got to be done. So with that being said, I will do that. I will bump my Fremen track up 1, moving me from 3 to 4 victory points. And it's my reveal phase, so I'll move from 4 to 6 conflict combat points with my 2 daggers. And with 5 persuasion, there's nothing in the Imperium row I want. So all that has been done. And we will now move forward to agent phase. That was agent phase 3, actually, already. We're in there. So Vernius is going to do interstellar shipping, but he cannot because he's already there. So instead, he's going to go to conspire. And what a dog. He's conspiring. He's going to put himself right next to me, gunning for that alliance token. He's going to put 2 troops in his garrison, but do they get into the combat? No, they don't. Now we're going to go to agent phase 4. This is the Mentat that Atreides has been working with, and he's going to use him to harvest some spice. So he goes to Hagabazin, and he takes 4 total spice. And that's it for him. So what I'm going to do is take back 1 of the spice using the 5 spice over here and just give him a 5 spice token. He has no more troops that he can add into this conflict, so there at 6 he remains, and we are now going to get into the conflict phase, which, cross your fingers, he blanks out. He does not. He goes up 2. Space is putting him at 8. which means he gets to put one of his flags on Carthage here. And he gets a victory point, moving him from 7 to 8 victory points. Now, I am in this combat. I get a spice, and I get an intrigue card. Okay, that's not too bad. Expedite. I could use that next round, probably. Yeah, that would be nice. What would I do with it, though? I just don't know. It doesn't matter. We are going to take the first player token, put it on my board over here, and we are done resolving the winning, so we return the combat trackers back to their home positions, returning troops to their respective supplies, and flipping the next conflict card. Grand Vision. Dang, it's not a super good conflict to win, but I've got to do something here, and I'm so close to getting the Emperor track. That's probably what I'm going to do if I win this conflict, which I'm going to take Hayliner this turn, so I'm probably going to end up winning the conflict. Gosh, it's just not the best conflict to get involved with, but anywho, what difference does it make? What are we going to do about it? We have now got to put my persuasion back to 2, move the agent tracker here, and roll the Imperium Row dice. 1 and 5 have gone away, so say goodbye to Scout and Spice Hunter. They are gone off of the board, out of here. We are going to reveal another Spice Hunter and a Liet Keynes, who, for 5 persuasion, lets you move your Emperor track up 1. It lets you go to Fremen and blue spaces, and you get 2 persuasion for each Fremen card you have in play, including this one. Spice Hunter for 2 persuasion lets you go to Fremen spaces and triangle spaces, and gives you 1 persuasion in a combat, and if you have Fremen Bond, a spice on a reveal phase. Now, it's worth mentioning right here that Vernius is in first place with 8 victory points. Duke Leto Atreides is in second with 7, and I am far behind with 4, and I am working my butt off to find the victory points where I can get them scraping the barrel. We're going to have to see what I can do about that. So let's go forward now from Duke went. It's my turn to go first. That's right. That's true. So, all right. Wonderful. I will begin by putting all these agents back where they belong. All the way over here. Here and here. And here. Mentet, you go back where you belong. Awesome. I'm going to draw my next hand. Goodness gracious. This does not look like I'm going to win this game, especially with these conflicts as they have been. Now, Memnon Thorvald, I've got to admit, he's a hard one to work with. Ariana Thorvald is the hardest, in my opinion. This guy's the second hardest to play with, in my opinion. It's just, he doesn't have super good abilities, I just don't love him, that's all. He hasn't been very kind to me. Okay. So, I'm definitely going to use Fold Space right now and go to Hayliner. Get that out of the way. So, goodbye to Fold Space. There we go. Put my agent on Hayliner, move my tracker up 1, get a victory point, generate 5 troops into the garrison, and dump them all into the conflict. Every last one of them. Yeah. That's going to put me at 10 combat points. And that's pretty much it. I also get 2 waters, which maybe, moving the researcher track wouldn't do me a ton of good at this point in the game. So going to research station is not a very good idea, but maybe I can go to Hardy Warriors. Let me see what else I have. I do have a diplomacy, and what I could do is if I go to Hardy Warriors, no. What I could do is, maybe I go to, I got to spend my 6 spice, of course, having gone to Hayliner. that stuff's not free, you know. 6 spice. Here. Now, what else am I able to do while I can do it? What I could do is spend a spice to expedite, and then I get 2 spice back. So I'm basically trading 1 for 2. It's just like getting a 1 spice bonus if I do that. Or I do need to take the mentat space, so I should do that. I should take the mentat space. Taking the mentat would do what for me? Absolutely nothing, really, if you think about it. I could draw another card, but what good would that do me? Really, not a lot. I don't need to buy anything. Drawing cards isn't really something I need to do. Maybe I should save my mentat for the last round, which is coming right around the corner if these guys don't kill me now. So yeah, so diplomacy. What I need to do is think about using my strong arm. So what I should do is use diplomacy at, I don't know. Maybe, you know what I just realized? Okay, you know what I just realized? In the second agent phase, I could go, aha! I could go to secrets. Okay, I could go to secrets. And what I could do is, in my second agent phase, I go to secrets, right? I get an intrigue card, I bump my tracker up 1. If I win this conflict, then I could push my Bene Gesserit tracker up 2 and surpass Atreides and take my coin back, bumping his tracker down 1 and moving me up 1, which would tighten up the game. And that's something I think I need to do. So yes, now let's move on to Vernius, who, actually, I'm being silly. Poor Vernius has been sitting here. He's got to trash his tactile. He's going to spend 3 spice to do it, and that's going to get him a victory point as per the ruling on the tactile. I just realized it. So he's sitting at 8 victory points now as well. Oh, goodness. This is such a tight game. But yeah, you got to take the points where you can get them. That does make me nervous, though. Maybe what I should be doing is going for that Emperor track now and using firm grip on the mentat space if I am lucky enough to draw it. Although my entire deck is completely here. So how would I do that? I don't know. But maybe I don't need to be worrying so much about tightening up the game as much as I need to be worried about getting that Emperor track, which would get me a victory point. And then from there, I could do what? I suppose I could bump my Fremen track up 2 if I win this conflict and tie with Atreides on that Fremen track, and then in my next available turn in the 8th round, I could go to like Hardy Warriors or Still Suits and then steal his coin for a victory point. So then if I'm lucky at the end of this round, I would end up with 6 victory points, and that would be that. No, 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 no. I need to maintain my initial strategy of going to secrets, and I'll tell you why. Get a load of this. Strong arm. If I lose a troop, I can move a faction up 1. That would tie me with him. I still need to overtake him. What I would do is, golly, I would be doing a lot for that when I don't need to be. It's just being silly now, aren't I? I'm thinking too much about this. I already know what's going to happen. I bump up 1, and And then I could do this and tie him and then seal the deal away, which would be stupid. Nope, I like my other plan better. So we need to move on with this round. Vernius, what do you want to do? He's going to go to research station, and that's going to be able to push him forward 1-2. That's going to be a victory point for him, putting him at 9. He's nearly at the end of this game. He's going to push in 2 troops into the conflict, of course, and that's going to bump him to 4 conflict points. Now we're going to go to Duke Leto Atreides, who's going to go to Hardy Warriors, and he already has the coin there. So now I can't dream of taking that away from him. That other plan now is not looking as good. So what could I do? I need to finish what he is doing. He gets himself 2 troops and adds them to the conflict, putting him at 4 conflict points. And it goes to my second turn, and I need to seriously think about what I want to do, because everything counts. It all counts. If I go to wealth, I would get a victory point and 2 troops to my garrison, but could not include them in the battle. I do have a dagger. I have 2 experimentation. Then if I win this battle, I would do what? I would move one of my trackers up 2 spaces, but which one? That's the question. I suppose Bene Gesserit is the best hope I have of passing somebody on that board. Maybe I could draw Web of Secrets, I think that card is called. And I could go to Secrets and overtake him. This is a long shot, but I'm thinking that's the only thing I could possibly do. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Use diplomacy to seal away my Emperor track now. Yeah. Yep, that's it. So diplomacy is going here, and I'm going to take my second agent and put it on wealth. I'm going to get 2 Solari and push it over here, and I'm going to bump my tracker up 1, take this alliance coin. And you know what that's going to do is if I have firm grip, that would generate me 4 persuasion. That would put me well on my way to getting a spice must flow. Maybe that's something I can do, but I'm not going to think too much about it right now. I got this. I need to get 2 troops into my garrison for getting that alliance coin and give myself a victory point, moving me from 5 to 6. And all right, so that has been achieved, and I've got a nice lead on these guys. So that's looking pretty good, but they still have 4 agents left between the rest of them. So let's see what they want to do now. What does Vernius want to do? Tech negotiation. He goes over here, and what does he do? He has only 2 spice, so he's going to just put a troop over here in the tech negotiation space, and that's it for him. Now Atreides, he's going to take a dreadnought, and he's got plenty of spice, so he's going to spend 6 spice on Holtzman engine, and it's worth it really does absolutely nothing for him. So I'm glad that he bought that, because it does nothing for him, but he does have a dreadnought now. So look out for this guy. He's got a dreadnought. Let's reveal the next tech tile. It's flagship. So if you have 8 spice, you get a victory point. And if you tap the tech tile, you get 4 Solari. Tap the tech tile and spend 4 Solari to generate 3 troops to your garrison. Very cool. Don't need it. But now we're going to get into my reveal phase. What do I want to do? Put 2 specimen in the axolotl tank. Might as well do that. And bump myself up 1 on the tracker, moving from 10 to 11 with my dagger. And let's see, I'm at 4 persuasion. Nothing seems appealing to me. 4 persuasion, yeah, nothing is good. It's not even enough to take Keens, which at this point, why would I want that card anyway? I've already got the Emperor track. So that is it. Now the question is, do I feel lucky? Don't need to do this yet. Do not need the strong arm. Okay, so we are now moving to Agent Phase 3. Vernius, you are going to harvest spice, but you can't because there's no bonus spice on the board, but instead you're going to go to Arrakeen. You're going to use your Signet Ring ability, and what does that do for you? Absolutely nothing, because you cannot afford flagship. So that just means you put a you get to put a tech negotiator over here in the tech negotiation space on the planet Ix as your Signet Ring ability, but you generate a troop, of course, that happens, and you push them into combat. So now you are giving me a run for my money because you have 5 total troops. Let's see, so that's going to put you at 1, 2, 3 at 10. So, oh boy. Oh boy, I may not win this one, and he's about to take the game, so if he wins this combat, it's over for me. So, all right. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll get lucky. Okay. Well, I'm just a little disappointed at the moment. So let me just sort of seethe for a minute. Brutal, man. Okay. Duke Leto Atreides. You're going to go to selective breeding all the way over here, moving your tracker up 1. So it's really between me and Vernius. And Vernius is at 9 victory points. So if he wins this, he's going to win the game because he's just going to move his tracker up 2 over on any either Bene Gesserit or Emperor track. He could steal my coin, or he could just get a free victory point, and it would be game over. So it really all comes down to this. This next card is going to determine everything. Let's see what happens. Yes. Yes. Okay. That's lucky. That's lucky. That is very lucky. Wow. Okay, so let's see what Atreides wants to do. He generates 1. So 4 to 5. All right, then. So with that being said, let me think about this for a second. I want to make sure I did this correctly because I revealed Carthag for who? Selective breeding? Yeah. Selective breeding was Leto Atreides, so the next guy was going to be Vernius. So yes, Vernius did use Carthag. I was just going to say, if I accidentally got it mixed up, then in fact, it was Leto who blanked out, and he was going to tie with me at 1, but it didn't turn out that way. Actually, I did do it correctly in the proper sequence. So yes, I got very, very lucky. I'm very, very satisfied. And I win this conflict. And I forgot to move this tracker over here. So what do I want to do? I barely won by the skin of my teeth. This is where I need to think about what I wanted to do. No matter what track I move up by 2, it's going to be, well, let's see here. It's all about, let's think about this. It's all about what do the benefits get me. I don't need Solari. I don't need water. I have 2 of those, and I do need an intrigue card. So I'm going to move my Bene Gesserit up 2 and get an intrigue card. Private Army. Okay, that's good. I'll tell you why. Because I have Expediate, and that can get me 2 free spice right there. So that can help me win the next conflict. Now, I do get an intrigue card for taking first place. So let's see what that is. Recall one of your agents. That's like a free Mentat in a way. Now, the first opportunity I get, I must use Expediate so I can get that spice and reduce my intrigue card stack from 4 cards to 3. so that nobody can steal it at the secrets position. So that is done. Now, second place. Ah, yes. Second place is, oh no. Second there. Oh, you guys. Second place gets an intrigue card and 3 spice. And that means Vernius wins because he just got himself 10 total spice. I'm sorry, 10 victory points after spending 3 intrigue cards, getting second place. And that's the end of the game. How sad. I was so excited too because, you know, if I could just do one more round, who knows where this game could have gone. Well, now my win-lose ratio has gone from 50-50 to a solid 2 spot. I'm down by 2, right? So I've got to make up for this somehow. Yeah. Kwisatz Haderach level difficulty is extremely hard. I really think that if I'm not mistaken, Vernius like used the Chome track, and that was devastating. I think he did that twice in this game, and that was like both times the worst thing ever. How do I feel about my performance? Well, I never got to use the Menset like I wanted to. I did use Hayliner, so that feels good. Every time you go to Hayliner, it always feels good. I got one really nice lucky break, which was, you know, blanking out in the last round. But what good did that do me when... Yeah, what good does that do me when the guy wins the same round? So that ends any hope of doing anything in the next round. Now, it was so dangerously close that even if what would I be able to hope for, you know? Like, even if we could go into the next round, I'm still at 6 victory points. What could I possibly do to attempt to take the lead? Where are the extra victory points? You know? So let me just look at the next conflict card just out of curiosity. It would have gotten me 2. So if I went from 6 to 8, that's still not enough to overtake Vernius, and he was 1 away from getting a victory point, so, and taking the game even if we made it to the next round. So it just really didn't look like there was very much hope at all anyway, you know? And he got very lucky getting that tech tile, which I did forget about, but not for very long. I eventually used the 3 spice to get him a victory point, so I didn't forget, but I did for a little while. So yeah, he had a few lucky breaks. He had a few things go his way, the Chome track and that tech tile. That would be 3 total victory points right there just for those 2 things alone. And then look at these faction tracks. These guys have managed to take every single alliance coin off of these tracks. They have totally utilized those victory points. So that's 4 right there, just for the first ones. Actually, he never did get his Bene Gesserit track to the second space, so that's actually 3 for him there. Then he got, yeah, the Spacing Guild, so that's another one. So he ended up with 4 victory points off of that. So 4 plus 3, and then he just got the, yeah, he got the Solari, he got the intrigue cards twice, so there you go. That's his total 10. Yeah, that's how he won the game. What a jerk. You know what? Vernius is really good. He has won so many times against me in House Hagal. It's a sad day. I take an L, but you know what? Tomorrow is Wednesday, and that's only 2 days away from Friday, where I can play this game yet again with some friends, and I'm really looking forward to doing that because it's always fun playing this game with friends. And also, Thursday is the 4th of July, so fireworks, and I hope everybody's house is safe and everybody stays safe and has fun, celebrates the 4th of July. So with that being said, I bid you all adieu. I take the L. Victory to Vernius. Celebrate him. And I'll see you all next time for Game 12. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me. Catch you later.